All right, good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Common Council for Tuesday, February 6th. If you could all please press your aye and confirm buttons.
Twelve are present, excuse me, 12 are present, Your Honor.
All right, and we will proceed. If you'd all now please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, as leaders of the Green Bay community, let us be an example of the people and use our gifts you've given each of us as we collectively practice the virtues of temperance and justice and work together to build a community of opportunity and faith for Greater Green Bay. We're grateful for so many people here tonight, especially those firefighters who are here with us and not, as also the people who've contributed greatly to make our city a safer place. Also, we express our thoughts and prayers of thanks to the medical community for all the good they do. Last week, we celebrated National Wear Red Day in an effort to support women in their fight against heart disease. We're grateful for the staff and organizations who study and work to make all of us, especially women, physically healthy. This week, we also welcome to the City of Green Bay Richard Mays as our new city prosecutor. Watch over and bless his family as they relocate to our community and begin their new life here in Green Bay. Continue to bless all our community with kindness, and as always, we ask that you be with our military personnel, especially those serving on the USS Green Bay. We ask this in your name. Amen. All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes of the January 15 meeting. We have a motion by Alderman Nicholson, and that was seconded by Alderman Randy Scannell. Any discussion here? Seeing no lights, all in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it, and the minutes of the January 15th meeting have been approved. We're now on to a motion for approval of the agenda. There's a motion by Alderman Randy Scannell, second by Alderman Tom Slottick. To approve the agenda. Anything you want to change here? Seeing no lights, all in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it, and the agenda before you has been approved for tonight's meeting.
Report by the mayor.
We have a presentation coming up in just a couple minutes, but I also just wanted to again mention our new city prosecutor who's on board with us, Rich Mays. He actually starts on the 19th, but I would ask him to join our city council and meet some of the city council people. So, Rich, you want to say hello? Welcome to the city of Green Bay. Glad you're here. Okay, clerk.
We're on to announcements.
Alderman Mark Stoyer.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to throw out some congratulations to Jerry Kramer. We put together a resolution, you remember, a couple of years ago to get him into the Hall of Fame, and he is now in the Hall of Fame, so we can rest easy on that. But I just want to congratulate him and all the citizens that supported him. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Scannell.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to give a quick shout out to the Mardi Gras coming up this Saturday at the Art Garage. Should be a good time. Wear a mask, eat some good food. The tickets are $25 in advance, $30 at the door. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Chris, do you have any late communications?
I have an announcement. The next Common Council meeting will be Monday, February 19th due to the spring primary election on Tuesday, February 20th.
All right, we'll continue.
We're on to public hearings. Public hearing regarding vacation of portion of unapproved unimproved right-of-way at Radisson Street between North Webster Avenue and St. George Street, and miscellaneous ordinance number 2-17, an ordinance adopting an amendment to the Smart Growth 2022 Comprehensive Plan to the city to amend the future land use of properties generally located at 1335 through 1369 East Mason Street and 526 South Baird Street from medium intensity retail office housing to commercial.
Anyone here tonight who'd like to comment on either one of these two items? Is there anyone here wishing to be heard? Anyone wishing to speak? Then we'll let the record show no one came forward.
You may, under suspension of the rules, take up items 11 and 20 with a roll call vote.
All right, there's a motion by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderman Nenning, to suspend the rules for that purpose. All in favor of suspension, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it. So a motion to adopt by Alderperson Dorff, seconded by Alderman Scannell. And if you'd use the board on this, this is 11 and 20. And those pass unanimously. Thank you. All right, Chris.
We're now on to recognition of Brian, Shirley, and Brenda for the monetary donation to the Green Bay Metro Fire Department.
Well, as I said, we have a lot of special people here tonight, and especially Brian, Shirley, and Brenda. And I've asked the chief to come up, and you may have seen some of this last week, and we sure wanted to recognize this very generous family at the city council meeting this evening. So, Chief Litton, I will turn the podium over to you.
Well, good evening, everyone. Many of you may have seen the press release and maybe some of the news coverage last Friday on the unbelievable donation that was given to the fire department. But I wanted to, first of all, let me introduce the family here for you, and I'll just kind of run down the line here. So we have Brian and Shirley Michelson and their daughter Brenda Harold, and then Owen and Bennett. So this is a family that about 2 months ago, we received a phone call from Brenda asking to come in and meet with the chief. I didn't know who she was, and I don't think she knew who I was, because she wanted to make a donation to the fire department. And so she came in within a couple of days of that and sat down in my office, and Chief Goplin was with me, and she said, my family and I would like to make a donation to the fire department, and what could you guys use? I said, well, can you give me any idea of what you're talking about or what kind of money? Because I've been through that a few times where people would come in and give $200 or $500. And very casually, Brenda said, oh, I don't know, somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000. And so I looked at Chief Goplin, and he looked at me, and I wasn't quite sure that I heard it right. And I said, did you say $80,000 to $100,000? And she said, yes. Doesn't that happen often? Just in that very casual kind of way, and so that started this really great conversation and really great interaction and relationship that we have developed over the last several months with them. The family's only request in all of this was very simple, that it had to go towards safety items for the people out in the street. That was their only request, that it had to be something that would directly impact the safety of all the firefighters and paramedics out there in the field. So we discussed what we thought would be the best things. I then called in some of our leadership, from stations, talked with them, and we came to a conclusion that we needed to purchase ballistic vests, which we have over here on the table, and ballistic helmets. And you might think, well, why in the world is the fire department doing that? Well, I can tell you in my 36 years of doing this, I never thought in my wildest dream that our people would need this type of equipment. But I will also tell you that since we have received some of the vests, our personnel have put them on 3 times already in the last 2 weeks. So that should speak to the need that's out there. And there's all kinds of reasons for having them on. I'm not going to go into that because that's kind of a negative issue, and I want to keep this as positive as I can. 36 years, I've never seen anything like this. I've never been involved. I've never really heard of families doing this. It's happened, I guess, around the country a few times, but certainly not with anybody that I've been involved with. And just an incredible blessing. They have been such a joy to work with. And my application was about a half a paragraph on an email. That's how simple they made it. And I will go a little bit further. You know, so we talked about the ballistic vests and the helmets, and they came back within a day or two and said, yes, we're absolutely going to fund that. And as part of our initial discussions, we were talking about these new hoods that are out that will protect the members from the carcinogens that are in smoke matter. There's one weak area in all of our gear, and it's around the neck. And so there's these new hoods out there, and we were telling them about that. And they said, well, we're going to fund those vests and those helmets, and we think we want to fund the hoods too. How much would that be? So the vests were $81,000 with the helmets, and the hoods were another $17,640. I'm like, yep, we're going to do that. We'll be back in about a week or two with another check for you. And lo and behold, they called and made an appointment, came in and had the second check there, and you know, kind of the rest is history. We've got some checks there that I wanted to kind of have them hold up for us. So those are the two checks in honor of their aunt, Ola S. Adams, and I believe that both of the boys, I think, are going to speak to that, and maybe one of the adults as well. I'd like to have them speak real quick before I conclude. So whoever would like to come forward.
Like the chief said, this was made possible from my aunt Ola Adams Trust, and she left Shirley and I in charge of seeing where it's going to go, and it went to the Green Bay Greater Area Donor Advisor Fund, and she gave to many charities beyond this one, but she was in the education and safety and public safety all her life, and we're very grateful and privileged to be able to do this on her behalf. So that's it.
Okay, first of all, where do you guys get these giant checks?
It's a great little business right downtown.
Second of all, Aunt Ola was very generous, and she always had her fridge full of candy. Not her fridge, her pantry.
Here, let me move that down for you. See how easy that is? There you go.
She was nice, and she was really fun.
I just want to thank these guys. That's firefighters. That's who deserves the credit. They're great.
Kind of funny that they're thanking us when we're the ones that are wanting to thank them. Something about my aunt. She lived to be 99 years old, world traveler, just a really cool person. She was just awesome to know, and I think she'd be really proud of the decisions we're making.
So again, we just want to thank the family. Obviously, it's a very incredible thing that they've done here for our firefighters, and couldn't be more thankful to them, and we've been saying thank you over and over and over again to them. But thank you so much for your generosity, for your kindness, for thinking of our people, for keeping them out of harm's way, and I know that they absolutely appreciate it, and I for sure do as well. So thank you once again. Have a great night. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, Chris.
We're on to appointments. Sex Offender Residency Board, Melissa Decker Cheslock.
There's a motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Randy Scannell to approve Melissa Cheslock. Any discussion here? Seeing no lights, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. Melissa's been approved. Thank you.
We're on to referral of petitions and communications. On page 1 of your packet, you have all petitions and communications received by the clerk's office by noon on Thursday. We will now accept any late communications you may have.
We'll begin with Alderman Tom Dwayne.
Thank you, Your Honor. I got two of them. This one is for traffic, and it's to put a stop sign at Alpine and Greenbrier. And this other one is from a citizen, David Vanderleest. And this is to be sent to, I believe, INS. Says, I would like all options explored to avoid a wheel tax. I would also like an answer to why the city quit repairing 3% of city roads per year. I would like to know where the resurfacing money was diverted to when we fell behind this long time practice. I would like this to be sent to the same committee the wheel tax will be taken up at the that was submitted by Alderperson Dorf, David Vanderleest. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, send that to the clerk. Alderman Dave Nenning.
Thank you, Your Honor. I also have two. The first one is to the Traffic Commission. It's a request on behalf of a resident to consider additional parking restrictions on Proper Street. And the second one to the Plan Commission. This is a request that the Law Department and planning staff provide the Plan Commission with an update regarding the new state law about conditional use permits. And if I could just comment on that a little, in the February issue of the Municipality that we all get, there's an analysis of this new law by Dan Olson that talks about changes in how we approve or deny conditional use permits, and I think it's important that we all be aware of that. So I've referred this to the Plan Commission. It won't be at next week's meeting, but at the meeting after that, I've asked for an update from the Law Department and Planning.
Thank you. Chris, do you have any late communications?
No, I do not.
All right. Alderman Zimmer.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have two. One for traffic or public works. I'm requesting that the city place a flashing school zone sign at the Da Vinci School on Monroe Street. And also for Public Works and Improvement Services Committee, I'm requesting that all city-owned sidewalks be cleaned within hours of any major storm to prevent handicapped persons from needing to use the dangerous streets.
All right, thank you. With Chris having no late communications, I'll entertain a motion to refer all petitions and communications. There's a motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Mark Stoyer to refer all petitions and communications. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. They've all been referred to the proper authority.
We're on to reports for council action. Report of the Public Arts Commission.
And what are your wishes regarding? All right, there's a motion by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderperson Dorf, to approve the report of the Public Arts Commission for the meeting held on Wednesday, January 24th. Any items under this report you wish to handle separately? Seeing no lights, all in favor of that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it. That report's been approved.
Report of the Traffic, Bicycle, and Pedestrian Commission.
Right, there's a motion by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderman Weary, to approve the report of the Traffic, Bicycle, and Pedestrian Commission meeting for the meeting held on Monday, January 15th. Are there any items in this report you wish to handle separately? Four. Okay, seeing none others, hearing none others, all in favor of the remainder of that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. All items have been approved with the exception of item 4. What are your wishes regarding item 4? There's a motion to approve by Alderman Tom Slottick, seconded by Alderman Randy Scannell. Alderman Nicholson.
Thank you. I placed this communication in a couple months ago. What I was requesting on behalf of the neighbors is a stop sign on the corner of John and Cass Street. When it went to committee, they want to do perform a study, evaluate it. What the issue is that we have so much traffic on East Mason Street going both ways, east and west, and the traffic lights at Bellevue, people are cutting through on John Street, where John hooks up with Amy and then Amy onto Bellevue Street. And the neighbors have been concerned with this and brought it to my attention for a number of years. It's an older neighborhood. The residents it's an older neighborhood with kids. I mean, there are kids and younger families in the area. But if we, and I believe there is some type of communication in there to help out with the lights at Bellevue and Mason Street. But in the time, I just feel that we should have a sign just to give the neighbors a peace of mind. I mean, the signs are already manufactured. All we have to do is send a crew out there to just place them up. We can always take them down, but I just feel it's important just to support the neighbors so they feel safe. We can still go forward with the study if the council wishes. So what I would like is to have a stop sign placed at Cass or John Street and Cass. So I'll be looking for a second.
Second that.
Thank you. Before.
All right, so
that's what I'm looking for. Thank you,
I got
Mayor.
it. Alderman Nicholson is asking that we amend item 4 to install a 4-way stop at John and Cass.
Yes.
Right, and that was seconded by Alderman Galvin. Did you want to? Are you done with that, Andy? Anything else?
Not at this time. Thank you.
All right, Alderman Galvin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Not only is John Street being used, but every other street there. And there's a park that has a lot of kids there, especially during the summertime. If you've ever been at Mason and Bellevue at rush hour, the traffic backs up. Eastbound traffic will back up over the East River Bridge. The Neighborhood Association did start a petition drive, which the city required to start a study to see if they could do something with that intersection. It fell through, and I think to let the neighbors sit any longer, feeling that they and their children and family members are at risk is the wrong way to go about this. I think we give them that stop sign for now. If we can change the traffic at Mason and Bellevue, and we can always take that stop sign down later. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alderman Slotnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know that typically before going to ordinance, the Traffic and Bicycle and Pedestrian Commission puts these things on a 90-day trial. So I guess I'm curious as to whether the aldermen would be open to doing this on a 90-day trial. Can we? I'd like to make that amendment then.
So to put a 4-way stop at John and Cass Street for a 90-day trial. No, you okay with that?
I'm okay. Thank you.
All right. So that is the, I don't see any other lights. That's the motion on the floors to amend item 4 to install a 4-way stop at John and Cass for a 90-day trial. So there's a motion and second to approve that amendment. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nay. And then I want to just finalize it. The motion to adopt is amended. By Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Moore. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it, and that has been approved as amended. Alderman Slotnick and Zima, can you turn your lights off, please? Thanks. All right, Chris.
Report of the Finance Committee.
All right, there's a motion by Alderman Scannell. Second by Alderperson Dorff to approve the report of the Finance Committee. That was for the meeting held on Tuesday, January 30th. Any items in this report you wish to handle separately? Item 2. Hearing none others, all in favor of the remainder of that report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. All items have been approved with the exception of item 2. And what are your wishes regarding item 2? Motion to approve by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderman Moore. Alderman Zima.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm at a loss for understanding why we would be purchasing laptops for aldermen. especially if it means that we aren't going to have minutes anymore. Now, we've had a number of discussions, and I don't know that it's really been thoroughly hashed out, but if this is meant to substitute for the making of minutes to be sent in our packets to us to review before our council meetings, I'm certainly opposed to it. I really feel like this is, what is this going to be, a personal use for us? Or something we carry with us, or we pass on to somebody else, or what is the idea here?
Do I speak to that, or is Mike? All right. That's fine. That's fine.
Certainly. Yep.
Yeah.
As we're moving forward with a lot of technology and software, it's all going to be integrated. And, well, first, your question, it would be, there's going to be 12 laptops and 12 tablets, and alders may choose either one. And you'd keep it with you as long as you're an alder. You'd pass it on to the next person that gets the job. And it really matters on how much you want to use the technology. The software will be very, very powerful. You'll be able to do a lot of things. With the minutes, you'll be able to track down where it is in the video, and it's just a very powerful integrated tool, and this should make our jobs a lot easier, a lot more organized, and we'll be up to date technologically. So, anything else? Question I can? Well, whatever.
Well, why wouldn't we be able to use our own personal computers?
Well, I don't know if every alder has a personal computer, and the software would have to be installed on it, and it's just most municipalities, we're not the first one doing this. This is the way it's done. The municipality provides the alder. I mean, you may have an alder that just gets elected and doesn't have a laptop, can't afford a laptop or whatever. I mean, who knows? This is a part of the job. It's going to be part of our tools. It's just in the 21st century, you need to be a little tech savvy. You need to be using technology. We're going to be immersed with technology, and I think the city should supply all. I mean, we supply a lot ourselves. A laptop is a considerable expense to expect every alder to have. So, and again, the alder can keep it with them, or they can just use it. They'll be stored in the rooms. They can. So it's really designed to however the alder wishes to use it. So I think it'll help a lot of alders. I know I'm looking forward to it. I've been a little bit of a guinea pig with the tablet, working around with it, and I'm pretty excited with all the software and everything. It's going to be, I think it's going to make my job a lot easier, more organized and manageable. So, thank you.
Well, it says in anticipation of implementation of the legislative management system. Well, that's a system that we've purchased that's going to allow everybody in the public to access it, correct? And they can go into any committee. They can supposedly, when it's working properly, they can go at M6 or whatever they want, and they can listen to it if they want to. And that's all well and good. I'm all in favor of that kind of transparency and people's ability to access it. But I don't think it should be replacing minutes. And I don't think we should be buying them for the aldermen either. There's no way to transcribe anything off of these for use at meetings or anything. You would have to. You'd have to, I guess, transfer it to a recording machine and bring it along. It becomes very, I think, labor intensive. It should not be replacing our minutes. And is that the intention of this? Is this to end our minutes?
It's much more than that. I mean, it'll integrate our calendars. It'll have software. You can take notes, write on the PDF files as far as our agendas and stuff. With the minutes, you'll be able to have, again, be able to make notes out of that. So it will.
Well, how do you make minutes off of it?
You'll have a document that you can write in. So if as you're watching the video, whatever, you want to make notes, you just type them in.
Oh, well, so we replace the one thing the alderman had was people keeping minutes and sending it to us, and now we have to be, the aldermen have to participate in a very labor-intensive method to get information from meetings and prepare for the meetings. I'm all in favor of the management system to, as a public service to aldermen as well as the public, but not to replace minutes. And I don't know, we had discussion at the committee. Did the committee make a definite decision about that? Because we're told by our attorney that the law only requires that the minutes have motions and how people voted, nothing more, nothing less. This is a cumbersome way for people to access. There are people that come and get the packets. There are people that review these things. And I think that is actually in the end reducing transparency, because it makes it more difficult to find. You have to be have a lot of savvy to use it. I would request that this be sent back for further discussion by the committee, because I think there's got to be some guarantees about the quality of minutes. Minutes are an important aspect of our democracy. So I make a motion to refer this back.
If I just may,
I don't know, is this a discussion between me and Scannell, or does he
well,
have to?
Who was?
I guess I got a point of order. I'm not here to debate him on the floor.
No.
He chairs the committee, and that's where the presentation was made. He had some answers, and go ahead.
Okay. The laptops, it's not just for the minutes. I mean, this is a much more powerful tool that'll do much more than that. It's not, I mean, if you want to address the minutes, I'm not sure that sending this back for the laptops has anything to do with that. That's really, you want to talk about the system and how it's going to be used. But the laptops is for much more than that. So I just want to make sure you're clear of the division there.
I don't believe the taxpayer. I have the floor, and I don't expect to be debated by the chairman.
I'm not debating you.
He keeps talking.
All right, go ahead.
I really think they should be sent back. I don't think we should be purchasing them for the alderman. I have nothing against the technology. I just think this is not an expense that we should put on the taxpayers. And I don't think it should replace our minutes, and those things are integral, because I had certain aldermen say, we got to get into the 21st century, all this sort of thing, and that's the way we're going to do things in the future. Well, that is not a practical way for the public or the aldermen to be able to get their information and prepare for meetings. It's a very cumbersome. It's fine to have it as a permanent record and something you can refer to and use if you want, but it's not a substitute for the written word. So my motion is to send it back and to consider whether we should be buying these for aldermen or not. Thank you. Second for discussion.
All right, so we have a motion by Alderman Zima, second by Alderman Dwayne, to refer this item back. Hang on. Alderperson Dorff.
Thank you, Your Honor. So it seems that, if my memory serves me right, we have referred it back a couple of times already. We did have some training in it, and it seemed to be a very effective way to get information. You can sort using keywords. I have a question for Alder Scannell. Will it take the place of all this paper that we have? Yes, so it will save trees. It will save money for the taxpayers on printing. These packets have to be mailed out. I think it's time that we are welcomed into the 21st century. I know the Green Bay School Board, Green Bay Public School Board, uses the computers. I know that when they were first introduced, people were a little cautious about using them. So for a while, both options were offered, the paper and the computers. And as time went on, as people became very, very comfortable with using the laptops, they stopped using the paper. And it was a lot easier to store and to find things that you need to find. So I'm not in favor of referral back. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Dave Denning.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, legislative management systems have been around and used in local government for many, many years. When I worked here, I think probably around the 1990s, I started hearing about, how communities were using these things effectively. Now, the vision is that, and we've already purchased this system, so it's something that we're going to do. I don't think it really is the same issue about how detailed our minutes are going to be. These laptops will be able to put on our desks at our council meetings or committee meetings, and we can pull up information if we want to search when an issue was before the council before and what action was taken. We can put in a word and or an ordinance number or whatever it is, and we can search for information to make it more efficient. Now, I did that when this was discussed at the Finance Committee. I did ask that there be a printer somewhere so that if there are documents that we as council members feel we need to print out for our records or for whatever purpose to give to a constituent or whatever, that there be a printer that we can use. And that you may have noticed in the mail room down on first floor that has already been placed there. So I want to thank IT for doing that. I understand that when you're elected to the Green Bay School Board, the first day you go in and talk with them, you're handed a laptop computer to use for your public business, to conduct the business of the school board. It isn't just minutes and agendas, but for every committee, there's a lot of background information on every item that is on the agenda, and we'll be able to have access to that, as will the public, with this legislative management system. So I really think that it's a good investment. If you want to have discussions about how detailed the minutes can be, we can do that, but I think that's really a different issue than buying laptops, because we bought the software, and if we're going to utilize that effectively, you really need laptops to have that software installed on. And you can take them home and use them if you're doing your work at home, or you can use them here on your desk or at committee meetings. But I agree with Alderman Scannell that not everybody has up-to-date technology to use in doing council business when they get elected, and this gives us a tool. So I'm going to vote against referral and vote for the motion tonight.
Thank you. Alderman Joe Moore.
Thanks, Your Honor. Also against referral. I think our job is to find ways to streamline government and create efficiencies. And this is, thankfully we've got the abilities to do this. We've got the technology, and we're capable. And the money is already been allocated out of the stadium tax funds for this program. So this $10,000 is, it's not going to be a direct hit on our taxpayers on this. It's going to create efficiencies for us who are part-time employees and sometimes are working full-time hours and doing this in addition to having full-time jobs. And I mean, I can tell you there's plenty of times that between two jobs we've done 75, 80 hours a week easy, but having this job as well. And to say that these laptops are not a good way for an alder to get their information is just silly. I mean, and I'm sure most of us do, we get all of our agendas emailed to us on Fridays, and many of us can open them up on our telephone on Friday. We just pop our cell phone open, you can read your agendas. If you got any questions, you still have time to get stuff in on Friday. You got all the weekend to look at it and peruse it. You can't get down to City Hall on Friday, you're coming in on Monday to grab your packet, and you're having a day to do your research before we have a council meeting. And many times there's Monday night meetings as well. So you're getting a day to try to do some research. I think, like I said, these are already, the money is already allocated for them. You can't make this a taxpayer thing. And the other part that bothered me was when you said, the one thing when the alder said, the one thing that we had was somebody to take all these minutes for us, and now you're expecting us to do more work. How badly do we want this job? So that's all I have. I'm against referral.
Thank you. Alderman Tom Dwayne.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. Whenever someone asks this council to send something back because they want more information or they want to discuss it further, I always vote yes, because I think that's a privilege that every alderman should have. Whether or not, especially something like this that's really, there's no urgency in it. Within 2 weeks, you'll see this pass. And so if a gentleman, if an older person wants to get more information, I'm going to support it. Alderman Moore hit it right on the head. Every Friday, I take my phone, I check everything out, and as some of you found out today, when I had questions, I'll call you, the committee member, or as Director Grenier and Director Bonk know, I ask a lot of questions. I just call them, and they give me answers right away. So when it comes time, if I'm blessed enough to be here when this all works out, I won't accept one anyway, because I don't expect taxpayers to pay for a computer that I can do by myself at home or on my phone. But that doesn't mean it won't work for others. So I'm going to vote for the referral because I think it's a privilege that they all deserve, everybody deserves if they wish. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Weary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do view it really as two separate issues. Really, it's the upgrading of technology, which I think we all know we're behind on, and I can't wait till our website is improved, because I think we've all heard lots of complaints about that. I really look forward to that. But technology, we're behind. We need to get ahead. This is the 21st century. The other item is city standards for minutes, and I know we put in a communication to discuss our policy on what we want for minutes, the types and the length, what we want in minutes, and that's an entirely different discussion that I don't believe we've fully vetted yet at committee. So the laptops or the books are really just a tool of the city. They're not owned by the alderman, they're just a tool. And so whether or not you want to use that tool is totally up to you. But it would be nice, how many times do we sit here and we say, boy, you know, 4 months ago we had that discussion at a meeting and what was the vote, and we all look around at each other and nobody knows. When you could just hit a few keystrokes and everybody could say, well, there it is right there. I mean, we have to get with the times. Now, that's the lesser important decision. The more important one, and I look forward to a hearty discussion, is about the minutes, because there is validity to being able to have some written minutes and not requiring people in the public to go and watch a 3-hour meeting in order to get the gist of what happened. So I'm for, well, I'm not for referring this back. I'm for giving us the tools, but I look forward to the discussion on the minutes. Thanks.
Thank you. Alderman John Vanderleest.
Suggestion would be that we contact the county's IT person. They've been involved with laptops and tablets and what have you. And some of it's positive, some of it's negative. And I would definitely refer it back. I'd want our IT person to discuss with the county's IT person, and you could get some very good information from that. And I'm not against technology, but I think that if an alter requests to have a written packet, I think that should be requested as well. And you know, and some people work well with both tools, so I think that we could, you know, that would be my suggestion, that we refer it back for just some information from the county. They already implemented it, and you know, things that are going on there, and some of it's positive, some of it's negative. But our IT person will give us a very good background on what's going on there from the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Weary, are you? Alderman Zima.
Well, I tell you, it's my fear here is the abandonment of minutes, and a couple people have spoken to it. Other people want to gloss over it. I feel there's going to be a severe loss of transparency in the fact that we can't, it's fine to be able to print documents and agendas and ordinances off of a good management system. We've already approved the legislative management system. That is going to be a reality. But it's, you know, do these books, notebooks, is this to replace the minutes? because that is a direct impression I had. Administration came forward and was talking down minutes, and a couple of members on the committee were talking like minutes are something of the old horse and buggy days, and they really are not, because this system, it's impossible to download discussion that we normally have in our minutes, and this is a very important thing. So you can pass that part if you want, but I think the discussion of minutes has to be referred back out of this, because I think implicit in this is that we're not going to do minutes anymore. The clerk's office has been to the committee and said that we're not going to do minutes anymore. Staff has been cut in there over the past couple of years. They don't have the staff to do it. And our department heads have been doing it haphazardly, and some a little better than others, but the detail that we normally were using has declined. It has continued to decline. And the discussion of our alderpersons here and the public at meetings, when it's important, it needs to be in minutes that people can access quickly. I go through my packet, you know, in 15 minutes to a half hour, and then I might go do some research myself based on the discussion I see. That's not going to be here anymore, if I understand it correctly, because they very adamantly said all the law requires is motions and votes, nothing more, nothing less. So we're supposed to get our packet of what happened by motions on Saturday, and then we should spend our time listening to 10, 20, 30 hours of meetings, depending on how many meetings and commissions, etc., that took place. That is a burden beyond anybody's ability. And these minutes are essential for us to have a half a chance at getting into it without having to wade through tons of technology. So it's all well and good to talk about having the technology, and I think it's fine. Who's disputing that? I love it. I love the fact that our meetings are, most of them are transcribed. You know, they're right on our, I don't know how long we're going to keep them. I think they should become a permanent record, actually. They're on discs or something. But it's not a substitute for minutes. It just is absolutely not a substitute. And it's a disservice to the aldermen and the public to, if that's included here. Now, I want to hear it. Does this mean we're going to still continue minutes, or are the minutes going to be discontinued with the purchase of laptops for the aldermen? What is it going to be? I want to hear it. Are minutes going to continue? I hear Alderman Dorff saying, well, people get used to it after a little while, and then we don't need to do it anymore. Well, I don't think there will ever be a substitute for those minutes. Yep. I want to know, what's the intention here? I got the direct impression from the couple meetings I attended on this subject that they're not going to do minutes anymore. And I remember Alderman Slotnick being surprised. Oh, you mean we're not going to have minutes? You know, he was approving the system, but he didn't know that was going to be there, and I don't think anybody else did either. But it's come up, and I'll tell you, I want a direct answer.
Yeah, I think your 5 minutes is up. I
want a direct answer. I'm done.
Okay, thanks.
I just want a direct answer. Does this mean we're not going to have minutes from here on in?
It was
beyond the motions and the vote.
Are you done, or aren't you?
Well, Your Honor, it's important that what we're talking about.
And I think Alderman Weary and Alderman Scannell and Alderman Moore all alluded to the fact that there's going to be I don't know if they said robust, but a discussion on the minutes.
Really? When? I'm just asking for a direct answer.
No,
Is passing this mean that we're not going to have minutes anymore? Are the minutes stopping with the implementation of the laptops? Yes or no?
The implementation of the laptops does not mean there isn't going to be minutes anymore.
I'm talking about detailed minutes.
You just changed the question on me.
Well, no, I'm
Look,
not. No,
okay,
I
so
made it-
Your
I made
Honor,
it
I guess
so
I've got
perfectly
the
clear.
floor. I've got the floor. Thank you.
Oh, good.
So yeah, good. Isn't that nice? So anyway, the
You're evading
implementation. Will you please give me a second?
He has the floor.
Evading. You asked for a yes/no question or an answer, and I gave it to you. No. Approval tonight of the laptops does not mean we're not doing minutes anymore. Now, I support the new program we're leaning toward. And when we discuss minutes, when that comes before our committee, and we talk about what our options for these minutes are, we'll have that discussion at that time. But that's not even an agenda item tonight. Right. And we've been going on for how long on this? We should not be talking about minutes. We should be talking about referral, which I'm against. Speaking on referral for the second time, how ridiculous is this?
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Alderman Stoyer on referral.
Thank you, Your Honor. Guy, I've been listening to this discussion back and forth, and we've had these talks about minutes and that. I feel that these laptops that we are going to get will not replace that. We still have to have that discussion. I can't tell you how many times that I've tried to go through the boxes of materials that I have at home, of meetings that I've saved, documents I've saved, and it's a pain in the neck for me to go through all this paper, and I've got a lot of it. And there may be a better way, a more efficient way to do this type of work, but I will admit, if I have a laptop, I have a desktop at home. I don't have a laptop. What I'm saying is it's a tool. It would help. It would help me tremendously. I don't feel it will replace the minutes, okay? That's just my gut feeling. So with that being said, that'll be a discussion for another time. So I'm against referral on that point.
All right, thank you. All right, so the motion, a second on the floor, is to refer this item back. Use the board. A yes refers it back. A no keeps it here. Oh, sorry. Okay, and that motion fails on a vote of 4-8. So we're back to the original motion, item 2. We have a motion, second. Any lights? All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Okay. Alderman, what's your light on? Alderman Weary.
I did put in the initial request some months ago, and I don't know, sometimes when we refer things, they get lost in that abyss of never coming back. So I'll put it again later as a late communication, personnel and finance, I would imagine. Create a policy regarding the type and length of minutes for all city meetings, and then we can have that discussion because it is important. So I'll put that in at the end of the meeting.
All right, thanks. So there's a motion, a second, to approve item 2. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it, and that's been approved.
Report of the Improvement and Service Committee.
It's a motion by Alderman Ronnie Scannell, second by Alderperson Dorff, to approve the report of the Improvement and Service Committee meeting. That was for the meeting held on January 31st. Any items in this report you wish to handle separately? Number 5. Okay, hearing none others, all in favor of the remainder of that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. All items have been approved with the exception of item 5. What are your wishes regarding item 5? Hang on. Motion to approve by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderperson Stoyer. Sorry, Mark. Alderman Vanderleest.
Item 5 is a referral to the downtown bridges, the 2 bridges that they're proposing new lights on decorative lighting on the bridges there. I'd like to alter this this request here as far as the 2 bridges. I'm in favor of lighting one bridge and taking the remainder from the other bridge and using it towards the road repair and railroad crossing repair. And I think if you look at the West Mason Street Bridge, they're not going to do anything with the West Mason Bridge because in about I think it's between 8 to 10 years where the state's going to be doing major work there. And I feel that decorative lighting is fine, and I think that we can get by with one bridge lit decoratively and take the remainder from the other bridge and use it towards the roadways and the repairs on the railroad crossings. And just by the few that we've already accomplished on some of the railroad crossings, I think it's, you know, and if you talk to the average citizen, I've done some research on it in the last week since we talked about this at committee. It kind of slipped by us at committee. The amount that's, you know, we're talking about here is 400 and some thousand, you know, for, I think it's 428,000 and 434,000. I think that it would be wise for us to, you know, take advantage of a little less decorative lighting and put some of this 400 and some thousand dollars back onto the fixing the roads and the railroad crossings. And I think the citizens of Green Bay will benefit greatly from it. And that's my proposal here. I'd like to have it sent back to our committee so we can discuss this further.
All right, so there's a motion by Alderman Vanderleest. Who seconded the referral?
I'd like to refer it back to our committee. Improvement Services, yes.
I'll second.
Seconded by Alderman Slotnick.
That's final. That's what I have to say about it. Thank you.
Okay, Alderperson Dorff.
I guess I'd like to get some information from Director Grenier, if he has any, on the exact cost and if it's just decorative lighting or do we actually need the lighting replaced because the lighting isn't working anymore?
Director Grenier, you want to comment on this?
Total contract as led is $897,000. That is to replace the decorative lighting on both the Ray Nitschke Memorial Bridge at Main Street and the Walnut Street Bridge. Those lighting systems were installed in 1998. That's 20 years old. They originally had about a 20,000 hour life to them. The report that was prepared for me in 2014 by the city's electrician foreperson indicated that those lights were nearing the end of their service life 4 years ago. So they are definitely beyond their active service life and they are in need of replacement at this time.
So no matter what, those lights have to be replaced, whether it's decorative lighting or whatever.
No, this was the architectural lighting on both bridges that was installed in 1998.
So we have to have lights in the bridge. Is that true? Do we need lights on the bridge? I would think we do, and if we do have to replace the lights anyway, so how could we not replace them on one bridge? I'm just trying to get clarity on that.
Well, we can't only award half of a contract. That would be a substantial material change to the bid. So we would have to rebid the contract. The way it was let, it was both bridges to replace the lighting on. So from a contract standpoint, you can't award one and not the other. What I can tell you is in my conversations with the low apparent bidder today, referral will kill the project because the equipment that they need to use to complete the work is what's referred to as a snooper truck. It looks a lot like a conventional boom truck that our electricians use, but it has a reversed knuckle on the end so you can actually reach down over the edge and come at a bridge from the bottom. They actually had to put a hold, and that hold is good until tomorrow, to get a snooper truck from Minneapolis. That's the closest snooper truck that's available, and the next closest one is in Colorado someplace. Chances are very good that we would have withdrawal of the bids if anything other than award or denial came tonight.
And I was at that meeting, and if I remember correctly, that was a pretty good bid from what was talked about in committee. That it was
I think my exact words were, this is the best pricing we're going to see on this.
Yes, I think I remember that. Thank you.
Alderman Tom Duane.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. I have a couple of questions for Director Grenier also. Now, I know this has been going on 2 years. This was passed in 2016, I believe. Did we bond for this already? I mean, is the money there? So we did bond for it already. How do we know how much to bond for? I mean, was there just an amount we were supposed to go up to, or?
It was not a limited We did have a project estimate from 2016 that was $700,000. In speaking with the contractor today, about $140,000 to $150,000 of the increased price above what we had anticipated back in 2016 is attributable to the use of the snooper trucks. We and Berner Schober Associates, who assisted in putting the design together, we just simply don't have a lot of good information relative to rates on snooper trucks. The remainder of the cost increase above and beyond what we had estimated back in 2016 is a result of both labor and material cost increases over the last 2 years.
So most of this is already paid for already, is what you're saying?
There was $700,000 that was bonded for directly for this project. Yeah. Now, we also carry some contingency funding within within our pavement accounts. Between that and some other contracts over the past year coming in below what we had anticipated, there is money available within the 401 construction fund to pay for this work.
Okay. Now, Alderperson Dorff asked if there has to be lights on there. For some time, we only lit them up on weekends, wasn't it?
Yes, that is correct.
So there's a lot of times where there's no lights on the bridge.
Correct. The anticipation is with the replacement. The way it was explained to me, and this came from I'm drawing a blank, Director Weber, who was 2 directors prior to me.
Right.
The systems that were installed on the bridges in '98 were state-of-the-art at that time, but they are incandescent based, so more like a conventional light bulb. They're either metal halide or mercury vapor or high-pressure sodium, something along those lines. The systems went in, and I don't know that there was much we could do or a whole lot of forethought that went into the operating costs of them. So it was a combination between the number of hours that the systems were rated at for a useful life and also the cost of the electricity. They were very cost prohibitive to run full time, which is not a similar concern with the LED systems because the power draw on them is so much lower, and because they don't have the heat output. That's typically what burns out a conventional light bulb, is the heating and the cooling of the filament. You don't have that because it's a diode that emits the energy. They have a much longer service life. So our anticipation, the way that we went into the design, was to have a system that would be operated daily for 20 years.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good. Alderman Joe Moore.
Thanks, Your Honor. When Alderman Vanderleest brought this up before the meeting, I thought it was a good idea, not realizing that we've already been paying interest on a bond without a completed project. And the more I think about this now, even if we were to do just one bridge, which it sounds like may not be able to happen regardless, I wonder if I could just ask the director, I think you've said it before, just throwing money at the railroad crossings and throwing money at repairs is really fruitless until we get more engineers in. I mean, are we currently doing the road work that coincides with the workload that our engineers can handle? I guess would be the big question, because if we said here's another $300,000 for roads, could we actually use it for road repairs, or would we need to use that to get staff on hand?
Right now we are currently maxed out on what the engineering staff, the existing engineering staff, can handle. We're pushing as much out the door as we possibly can with the staff that we have on hand. Now, I do have some money for railroad crossing upgrades that has been targeted. We have not been able to spend that because we've been meeting with Canadian National, trying to work together. We need to integrate with their budget or their annual cycles, and we missed the window for their funding cycle last year. So at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, we have a rail crossing that's part of the North Webster project, and we use that opportunity to sit down with them and say, okay, if we missed your funding cycle last year, we want to be at the top of the list for this year. And I will be meeting with them again next week, trying to get an answer out of them to say, yes, we are at the top of their cycle so that we can get some things done.
Okay, that's all I had. I'm against referral. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Dave Nenning.
Thank you, Your Honor. First, I'd like to give a little bit of background about this. In 1997, when Fort Howard Paper Company merged with James River Paper Company, they wanted, before that merger occurred, they wanted to make a major contribution to the city of Green Bay for some lasting project that would benefit the community. After they had discussions with Mayor Jaden at the time, they came up with the idea of installing architectural lighting on the bridges to improve the appearance of the central city. These are not street lights. It's architectural lighting, or, you know, I think it would be fair to say decorative lighting, as Alderman Vanderleest said. The problem occurred that the lighting that was put in 20 years ago has been failing. There's been corrosion. There's a lot of salt and other materials used on the bridges. A lot of bulbs have burned out just simply, you know, by time, the passage of time, and we don't have the equipment to regularly replace bulbs in the architectural lighting. So our staff made an effort starting in 2014 to look at alternatives. When the city accepted this gift from Fort Howard, it became part of the city's infrastructure, you know, and just like any infrastructure, if it deteriorates, then the city needs to look at what it can do to replace it. The lighting that's proposed here is LED lighting. Over 20 years, the technology has changed dramatically, and I understand that the electrical demand from these LED lights will be less than a quarter of the demand on the current lights. So Public Works put a lot of effort in to bid this thing out, and we received bids last year that were, the lowest bid was $1,375,000. We had in the 2016 budget and capital improvements program, we had approved this project and had bonded for $700,000 for it. But the $1,375,000 bid that came in last year was not acceptable. So we declined that bid, and we referred it back to our staff to look at ways of reducing the project and rebidding this. They did that, and now the lowest bid is $897,000. So it's $478,000 less than when it was bid a year ago. If we don't accept this bid at this time, then it has to be new specs have to be put together, and the project rebid. And you know, we're taking a gamble. It might end up costing more, or you know, for that matter, we may not even get any bids on our third shot at this. You know, it is a lot of money, and I do take that our responsibility seriously, but you know, this is a system that is expected to last 20 to 25 years with very little maintenance required, because this is an LED system. So I've given a lot of thought to it, and you know, the motion that came out of Improvement and Services Committee was to award the contract to the lowest bidder, and I'm going to support that.
All right, thank you. David Dunn here. Alderman Vanderleest.
Thank you, Mayor. My thoughts are that we can get by with one bridge lit. It's decorative lighting. We never had lighting beforehand, before the donation came from the Fort Howard Paper Company. And I feel that if we do one, and wherever that money might be, that $700,000 or whatever we got set aside, it can be used towards road work, bridge repair. If they have a problem getting the money in the right column, I could help them do it. I feel that we'd be a good steward to take half that money and use it towards the roads and the railroad crossings and the other, do the one bridge. I mean, I'm not asking for everything. I'm not saying scrap the whole program. And we could decide as the council which bridge we'd want to light. And I think everybody would be pretty happy. And I think the citizens of Green Bay would be very happy if they found out that there's going to be another 400 and whatever it might be, 425,000 towards the roads and repairs. And as far as where the money is, we can work with that money and designate it towards the repairs of the road. And get the decorative lighting done on one bridge. That's my proposal. Simple as that. And we talked about main concerns of all the aldermen that are running for office or whatever. Most of the concern was we like the roads done. So they probably say, gee, I really like that idea. That we do some more on the roads and do one bridge. That's my proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. I think your motion was to refer. Yeah, I think he's still looking at that. Yeah. Alderman Weary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Director Grenier, I understand referring it back might be an issue. What if we awarded one of the alternates tonight? I know you said it could be a material change, but if you approached them and said, hey, we're willing to offer alternate 3 or alternate 4, what do you think would be the result of that?
I don't think that's an action we can do. That changes 50% of the condition of the bid. That, generally speaking, a major change is considered 5%. You're asking a contractor to accept an award that was not contemplated and only awarding half of what was bid out. That is such a substantial change to the initial conditions of the contract that I don't think we can do that as a city.
All right, fair enough, thank you. I think Alderman Vanderlis does have a good point in that I think this was well-intentioned 20 years ago, and never did anybody think 20 years in the future this is going to cost us almost $1 million to replace those lights. I mean, that's a lot of money when we're struggling everywhere else to get money for alleys and sidewalks and streets and pools and asking citizens to raise $1 million for things, and here we're going to throw $1 million at decorative lights on our bridges so it looks nice. I'm in favor of referring this back, and maybe we have to have a good discussion on whether we need the bridges with decorative lighting or not. Maybe we do it on one, maybe we don't do it at all. We certainly didn't miss it for all those years. Maybe it's, we've had them lit for what, a couple weekends a year? Did anybody complain that our bridges aren't lit every day? I didn't get any complaints, so thanks.
Thank you. Alderman Zima.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm in favor of the referral. I don't like this panic. Oh, we got to do it tonight, or we're not going to get this bid, and we might have a bigger bid. Well, I tell you, you can have I believe that you can have maybe a more modest design, more modest lighting system. What are we doing now? Are we putting luxury before necessities? We have a lot of, where is this on the list of priorities of the needs of the city of Green Bay? We've got, $100 million worth of sewer work we're only just scratching a little surface on it. The complaints are still the same from people. I have to say, I have not had one complaint about lights, one way or the other, on the bridge. I don't think it's a bad thing, but maybe there's a more modest design that this can be done within our budget, our original budget, or less, and use the money towards something else. There's a lot of sinkholes that we are staring into the future here. I'm shivering thinking about the eventual sale of the Hotel Northland, and is the city going to take a haircut if somebody doesn't bid enough money to cover the total cost? All these things. We've had a lot of needs in this community, and here we are replacing some lighting that was gifts from before. And maybe there's some community-minded companies that would step forward, but I think it's incumbent on us to see if there's a more modest design to get some kind of lighting that wouldn't cost $900,000. So I'm in favor of the referral. Thank you.
All right, so this is on referral. A yes vote refers it back, a no vote keeps it here. Say it's been here for 2 years.
Somewhat. Yes. Refers it back. And it's down 400,000.
Right.
What'd you say, Your Honor?
You referring that back? You referring that back?
Did we continue the meeting?
Okay. Clerk?
Report of the Personnel Committee.
Second.
There's a motion and second to approve the report of the Personnel Committee for the meeting held on Tuesday, January 30th. Any items here you wish to handle separately? Seeing no lights, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it.
Report of the Protection and Welfare Committee.
There's a motion by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderman Galvin, to approve the report of the Protection and Welfare Committee for the meeting held on Monday, January 29th. Any items here you wish to handle separately? Seeing no lights, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay.
Report of the Protection and Welfare Committee granting operator licenses.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Scannell, to approve the report granting operating licenses. Any names here you wish to handle separately? Seeing no lights, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nay.
Receive and place on file building permit report for January 2018.
Motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Stoyer, to receive and place on file the building permit for 2016. Any discussion here? Seeing no lights, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nay.
We're on to resolutions. You may, under suspension of the rules, adopt resolutions 9 and 10 and 12 through 17 together with one roll call vote.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Slottick, second by Alderman Scannell, to suspend the rules for that purpose. All in favor of suspension, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Rules are suspended. Motion to adopt. Alderman Scannell, second by Alderman Weary. Use the board.
I got a question there.
Okay, Alderman Moore.
Thank you. I've got a question regarding number 17, accepting sidewalk, issuing assessments. A specific parcel ID is 21-7911, William C. and Jean A. Paragu. I was working with them, and they purchased the home. The money for the sidewalk repairs is being held in escrow from before their home purchase. And they're wondering if they're going to receive this bill or if that bill is going to go to the title company. And if we don't have that information, I can give it to you.
I believe
that would be on page 17A. It's the second one down.
17A. I believe what's intended is for it to go to the parcel address, the owner name and address as listed on the resolution. Okay. If you have information that differs from that we need to know about, simply let us know and we can make that correction.
Okay. Normally, I'm sorry, can I?
Yep.
Normally, the title company works that out with the buyer and the seller.
After the bill is sent?
If it goes to, because that's where it'll go to, is what's on here.
Okay. Generally speaking, if there is a condition at the time of sale, that more often than not has been our experience that the title company does work that out. They tend to want to have a clear title when property transfers hands.
Right.
So most outstanding liens or encumbrances are handled at that time. If you know or have some evidence that there's paperwork that's contrary to that we need to know about, have them get in touch with us. I can try to hold on to this one for a couple of days to try to allow you that time. And if they have some documentation that's part of their title transfer that indicates something other than what we have, let us know and we can try to take care of that for you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, so
I'm just going to abstain from that particular parcel then.
All right, fine. Okay, come on, you guys gotta vote. All right, and that's passed, noting the abstention on that item from Alderman Moore.
Ordinance's first reading. You may under suspension of the rules advance ordinances 18 and 19 to a third reading.
Suspend the rules.
Motion by Alderman Sladick.
No, Zimmer.
Motion by Alderman Zima, second by Alderman Sladick to suspend the rules for that purpose. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Move to advance. Second.
Motion to advance by Alderman Moore, second by Alderman Scannell. Can do this on a voice vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Do you have a late communication?
Motion
I'm
to
going to call.
suspend the rules for late communication.
All right, there's motion by Alderman Moore, second by Alderman Scannell, suspend the rules for late communication. Alderman Weary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have one, as said before, Personnel and Finance from Alderman Weary and Zima, to create a policy regarding the type and length of minutes for all city meetings. Thank you.
All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion is second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Bet you were going to support that lighting. That's not going to happen now. Looks like shit. I don't know why. No, it's not. That won't get done. That won't get done. That guy's not going to do it. He's not going to get that truck. We needed to order it tomorrow.
Good for you.
Here you go. So you didn't vote for that?
Lighting was item 3. And what was the other one you wanted?
What's the next person?
Huh?
Send it back for more.